As the 2025 holiday season unfolded, one name continued to surface across comment sections, playlists, and shared clips, without any major promotional campaign behind it. While much of the Christmas music landscape was driven by familiar chart toppers and high-budget releases, Lucy Thomas once again drew attention in a different way. Her seasonal performances circulated steadily, driven largely by audience sharing rather than media headlines. Viewers described stopping mid-scroll, not because of spectacle, but because of vocal restraint and emotional clarity that contrasted sharply with louder holiday productions. From a reporting standpoint, this pattern is not new. For several consecutive years, Thomas's Christmas-themed performances have generated disproportionate engagement relative to their promotion. Industry analysts often point to algorithmic momentum or nostalgia during the holidays, but that explanation alone doesn't fully account for the consistency. What stands out is how little the approach has changed. No dramatic rebranding, no controversy-based publicity, and no sudden stylistic pivots. Instead, the attention appears to stem from continuity. The same controlled delivery, the same measured packing, and a presentation that feels deliberately understated. As the 2025 season progressed, it became increasingly clear that this wasn't a breakout moment, but a continuation of a longer, quieter trajectory that many casual viewers are only now noticing. And that raises a broader question about how this trajectory began, and why it took this particular shape. Long before the holiday spotlight, Lucy Thomas's voice had already prompted a reaction that industry observers described as unusually mature for her age. Her early national exposure introduced audiences to a performer whose strength was not volume or theatrics, but control. Judges and viewers alike commented on tone stability and emotional restraint, qualities often developed later in a singer's career. From a reporting perspective, this initial response set the foundation for how audiences would later interpret her work, not as novelty, but as longevity. What followed was a period of sustained public interest rather than rapid escalation. While some artists transition immediately into aggressive touring or mainstream promotion, Thomas's appearances became selective. This led to a noticeable shift in how audiences engaged with her content. Instead of reacting to moments, fans began following progress, tracking vocal development, repertoire choices, and stylistic consistency. Media coverage during this phase remained largely neutral but curious. Articles highlighted potential while also noting the absence of industry urgency. That absence would later become one of the most discussed aspects of her career. For some viewers, it signaled caution. For others, intention. As the years passed, that early impression, that this was a voice being paced rather than pushed, proved accurate. And nowhere did that packing become more visible than during the holiday season, when her performances began to stand out against a crowded musical backdrop. By the early 2020s, audience discussion shifted from how Lucy Thomas sang to how she navigated visibility itself. Unlike many artists with similar exposure, Thomas did not pursue frequent television appearances or headline-driven media cycles. From a journalistic standpoint, this absence naturally invited interpretation. Online discussions speculated about industry offers, personal boundaries, and long-term planning. Importantly, no formal statements confirmed or denied these theories. What can be verified is this: her output remained steady but controlled. Releases appeared without heavy buildup. Performances were polished but infrequent. Interviews were limited. In a digital landscape where constant presence is often equated with relevance, this approach stood out. Music analysts often point out that overexposure can dilute audience trust, particularly for artists whose appeal is rooted in emotional delivery. In Thomas's case, restraint appeared to function as preservation rather than withdrawal. Engagement metrics during this period support that view, showing consistent replay value even during quieter public phases. Rather than diminishing interest, the reduced visibility seemed to concentrate it. Viewers didn't move on, they waited. And that waiting set the stage for why her Christmas performances carried such disproportionate impact. Holiday music is often treated as seasonal filler, but in Lucy Thomas's case, it became a defining platform. From a reporting lens, her Christmas performances differ structurally from mainstream holiday releases. Tempos are slower, arrangements are sparse, vocals are placed forward without excessive layering. These choices align with audience feedback describing the performances as intimate rather than celebratory. Data from previous holiday seasons shows that these performances consistently outperform non-seasonal content in both watch time and shares. This suggests that viewers aren't simply responding to tradition, they're responding to delivery. Christmas music, with its emotional associations, appears to amplify the qualities Thomas already emphasizes: clarity, control, and restraint. Importantly, these performances do not rely on novelty. There are no dramatic reinterpretations or viral gimmicks. Instead, familiarity becomes a strength. Audiences know what they're getting and return because of it. By 2025, this pattern was firmly established. Her holiday releases were no longer surprises. They were expectations, and expectations, when met consistently, can carry more weight than hype. In an era where absence often signals trouble, Lucy Thomas's quieter periods prompted noticeable audience concern. There were extended stretches with minimal public updates. No explanations accompanied these gaps. From a factual standpoint, there were no reports indicating professional or personal crises. However, the lack of information led to speculation among followers. Comment sections reflected a mix of concern and patience. Some expressed worry about burnout. Others defended the silence as healthy boundary setting. What's notable is that engagement did not disappear. Older performances continued circulating, particularly seasonal ones, suggesting sustained relevance without active promotion. From an industry perspective, this challenges common assumptions about visibility. Thomas's audience appeared less interested in constant updates and more invested in long-term presence. When new material did appear, it was met with relief rather than skepticism. This dynamic became especially visible during the lead-up to the 2025 holiday season, when anticipation quietly rebuilt without official announcements. When Lucy Thomas released her 2025 Christmas performance, the reaction was immediate, but notably restrained. There were no declarations of a comeback, no media blitz, yet viewer response indicated a deepened appreciation. Many comments referenced vocal steadiness and emotional depth, noting that the performance felt more assured rather than more dramatic. From a news perspective, this moment did not mark a turning point. It confirmed a trajectory. Thomas appears positioned not for rapid expansion, but for endurance. Her career arc suggests a model where consistency outweighs spectacle and where seasonal moments serve as anchors rather than spikes. As the holiday season concluded, one conclusion stood out. Lucy Thomas did not dominate Christmas 2025 through volume or visibility. She did so through continuity. And in a fast-cycling digital environment, that may be the most sustainable strategy of all.